So what do you got? What do you got? Okay, I was trying my Pacino impression. That didn't work down too well. My name, Adam Daniel Mezei. This is Fort Lauderdale on ice. It's like Fort Lauderdale, but it's on ice. Thanks again for watching. This is the ADM video blog. I'm at adamdanielmezei.com if you want to find out more about me. So yesterday I had a chance to watch another opera. The opera. Yep, I did it again. I did a cultural evening. I went down to the Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts here in Toronto, Canada, on the corner of Queen and University Street. TMI, too much information. And I saw Nixon in China. Nixon in China. This is the Performance magazine. Nixon in China. It's about Nixon's 1972 trip to China, and he opened the way for the West into China as a way of kind of pinning the Soviets in from two different sides. It was a landmark move. He had sent Secretary of State or National Security Advisor, I think at the time, Henry Kissinger, to lay the ground for his eventual arrival to talk to Mao Zedong, the chairman of the Chinese Communist Party. And this was based on the historical record in 2 acts, 3 scenes per act. Interesting bit of business. The opera, definitely prefer the ballet, but the opera is cool, especially if you have good seats. And I had a chance to see Robert Orth, who played Dick Nixon, who played Richard Nixon, do a really good job with a cast of supporting characters like Zhou Enlai, Chou Enlai, and of course Chang Qing, who is of course Lady Mao, or Mao's kind of wife, who was of course imprisoned as part of the Gang of Four in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And there was of course Pat Nixon, who played Richard Nixon's wife, and there was of course Henry Kissinger. Nice little bit of business. The opera is not exactly for everybody. The good thing here in Toronto is you have kind of the subtitles of what they're actually singing in their arias and such on stage. Nice bit of set design. Really like the use of technology and how they use stock footage, archival footage from the time back in 1972. All based, by the way, on a book written by University of Toronto professor Helen Macmillan. She wrote the book... Is it Heather or Helen? Heather Macmillan. Heather Macmillan, who wrote the book Paris 1919, about basically the peace conference at Versailles and how that basically fundamentally altered the world we see today on the strength of what the great powers, Great Britain, France, the United States, and I believe it was, who was a great power still in that era? I think Italy, believe it or not, was still considered a great power in those years. What they decided upon, and this particular situation that percolated all the way until the Chinese Civil War in 1949, all the history. That book, Nixon in China, was the ground-breaking foundation for this opera, Nixon in China. I had a good time. I'm definitely going to more cultural events, ballets, operas, and whatnot. Met some interesting people, and just really got into it, you know, a cultural kind of thing. Don't be such a Neanderthal. Don't be such a knuckle-dragging, dust-loving Neanderthal. Go out to these events and check it out. Let me know if you like it. If you've seen it in other cities, like in St. Louis or Chicago or New York, let me know. What I would like to see is Spider-Man on Broadway. Now that is going to be a show from shows. Thanks again for watching from here, Fort Lauderdale on ice. Why am I dressed so spiffy? I'm off to I'm off to do some recordings. Some little spots in front of the camera, which of course I won't talk about right now. I'll post it up eventually as I'm done with them, some professional spots. Wishing you the very best of things.